Who is Victory? Victory is me. Um, I started off as Ferocious. Um, Ferocious was just the way that I attempted to go throughout my life, just attacking it and, trying to conquer all things through a ferocious matter and manner of doing things, whether it be rhyming, whether it be business, just everything with regards to the way that I approach my way of living. Once it got to a point to where, it wasn't just about attacking a thing, but actually succeeding in it, the name had to change. Just like how even though Abram was good as Abram, that had its own meaning. God had to change his name to Abraham, which means father of many nations. You know what I mean? Because people can't stay the same. People can't stay the same. Your name's going to be changed throughout this life at some point regardless. And it's up to you whether it be for the positive or for the negative. There's a lot of people that made a name for themselves in a negative light. And I chose to allow God to move and make mine in a positive light. And I try not to be over spiritual, but the real of it is that, I wouldn't be able to do this without God. I'm not a holy hip hop artist. I do admire those that are able to make their content only of holy hip hop. I'm not there yet. So, maybe in the near future, it'll be that. How did I get started in this? Well, I grew up in Plainfield, New Jersey. Shout outs to the field. I was actually born in Newark, over at Beth Israel Hospital. I got started in hip hop because when I was growing up, we moved around a lot when I was in the Newark East Orange area, and we moved to a particular part of East Orange. Back then it was known as Illtown. And I just remember looking outside. This had to have been like late 80s, you know what I mean? Well, mid 80s, something like that. Looking outside, and I'd see dudes out there with cardboard, and I had no idea what they were doing, but then when I looked out and I seen the dude spinning on his back and spinning on his head, and I looked across at the abandoned building and I seen this art and I seen this writing, all across the building. It's like, wow, what is all that? How is that dude spinning on his head? What is all that's going on? You know what I mean? And then next thing I know, I heard Salt and Pepper playing on Z100, and I was like, oh snap, these girls is dope. You know what I'm saying? I was straight in love with Spinderella for the longest, you know what I mean? And ever since then, I just had a love for hip hop culture as a culture. You know what I mean? I got into graffiti before I was doing anything. Before there was Victory, the hip hop artist. Before there was Ferocious, the hip hop artist. There was SPBBG, which was my tag name. And that stood for Split Personality, Blessed by God. And I would go around, tagging. I tagged. Unfortunately, I'm not going to let you know where. For risk of incriminating myself, I'm not going to let you know where I tag. But, I felt like I was part of it. If I didn't do it, it wasn't me. And so since now I've kind of grown out of the whole graffiti thing, because now, of course, that will get you time, you know what I mean? You get caught. It's like I'm trying to tag the world again, but through my music. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to lay my stamp, my signature on the world in everybody's ear and everybody's mind through music. And ultimately, that's what everybody wants to do. They want to put their fingerprint in time to say that they were relevant for their life that they were here. Because at the end of the day, all we have is that dash. You know what I mean? You have the day that you were born, and you have the date that you die. Is what you do in between that matters. You know what I'm saying? And the more that people know what actually happened in that little line, which actually is significant of much longer than what that little dash represents, the more that you could do in between that, the more relevant you are, and the more you serve God purpose during.
When he left, I forget, but I can't go move along to this whole of my life is often filled with these songs of regret. I'm stuck to what I'm knowing all along wasn't set. By the time life's next, I'll be far from sex. To the best, can check what I set on top of the hill. I got next, coming at, is the guys that present as a net. Get the best of the life that you bet. Expect the time like baby steps to the mind as a sense. I recline at every flip, but a dime as a choice. Has to tell those bitch tells every time. Trying to be patient, getting enough to wait. Wondering will I shine and shed at least 55. Pace, I'm a pace when I lose these pounds, and I'm taking baby steps to get abused. What now? So start pay rules as it's coming to an end. If it all back to school, but my question is when. Pace, I'm a pace when I lose these pounds. I'm taking baby steps to get abused. What now? The front page rules as it's coming to an end. If it all back to school.
We moved to Plainfield when I was about 9, 8 or 9, and somewhere in high school, I started off first making mixtapes. You know, we'd go ahead, cop the newest hit off the radio sometimes, or maybe somebody will buy the new Wu-Tang album or new Nas album, and we just, you know, take cuts off that and put it on a mixtape, and we'd sell them joints. You know what I mean? My man had a karaoke machine. I didn't have a karaoke machine. I only had the regular radio to where you could actually record, though. I had an internal mic, and I would have to, you know what I mean, speak into it to say, yo, this DJ Cheese, that was my name back in the day. Yo, this DJ Cheese on the ones and twos bringing you that new mixtape, blase blah, you know what I mean? And we would just get it in. And I remember my man Steve, he back in Jersey now, but we was roommates in Baltimore for a while, but he would battle me, you know what I mean? And this was before, like, I don't even know if mixtape DJs battle now, you know what I mean? But we had the first mixtape DJ beef when it was only like Clue and Ron G and you know, DJ Doo-Wop, you know what I mean, when it was just them. We were sitting there battling, and he's dissing me on the record, you know what I mean, doing little remixes of songs, dissing me, and I'm like, man, you know what I mean, we gotta come back. So we just going back and forth as that. That's really how I got started in music, from the mixtape DJ thing. I definitely give a lot of shout outs to Clue and Ron G, who, you know, they kind of opened my eyes to hearing music and trying to be that exclusive, you know what I mean, trying to put together a real hot mix and make it, you know, just something to where I was able to go ahead and sell my cassette tapes to the other football players in the locker room, you know what I mean. My joint would be the official jump off for game day, you know what I mean. And yo, you got that new DJ Cheese, yo, we got Wu-Tang, get everybody hyped up before the game and all that. So that's really how I got started off with music as far as hip-hop itself, that in turn turned into us actually linking up, me and my man Steve, and then Doug, who's actually on 107.5 WBLS in New York now. We actually had a group. It was called The Association, And this is like right around the time when Big died, and we dropped just crazy remixes to that Victory. What was it? That album that came out that had We'll Always Love Big Papa, that joint on there. You know what I mean? We we dropped a lot of remixes to the instrumentals and stuff like that. So that's really how I got started off in that group. And what was ill about it is that Doug had a cousin, Ben, and Ben, he was actually the local record store owner, and he played our joint for the street. You know what I mean? Like back in the day, the record store would just pump the newest music out in the street. This is downtown Plainfield. You know what I mean? On Fridays, people's driving through trying to find what's really good, and they bumping us. You know what I mean? We 15, 16, and they playing our stuff, and people walking by like, yo, who that? You know what I mean? And that's what happened with that. Ever since then, I was like, well, I'm good enough to do this. You know what I mean? But come time for school, it was all about the education, and I really put rap to the back, like real to the back. Like I wasn't even, I ain't take it seriously at all. You know what I mean? I was like, well, hip hop will always just be there. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of my regrets, you know what I mean, that I didn't take it more seriously earlier on, because there was a time when I could have made it, really made it, you know what I mean, and made it big when people that have my style now, they wasn't even doing the things that I was doing when I was younger. You know what I mean? I was real big on Nas, and Jay-Z wasn't even really out yet. But Slick Rick and the storytelling and everything like that, it was like I gravitated to that. I was big on Greg Nice, and I was actually a real big Hammer fan back in the day too. And that Snoop Dogg album like just killed it for me. You know what I'm saying? Like I was just way in. Like at that time I was way in over my head as far as hip hop concerned. And like most artists, I started off a fan first. You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing that I can say, that I give props to those that came before me, because before them, it wasn't like I knew about, rhyming and spitting when I was one. You know what I mean? And hip-hop just first started. At some point, all of us are influenced by someone. As far as my writing style, and as far as lyrically, I do look past the people that are just hip-hop only. I do look to Stevie Wonder. As far as his lyrical writing ability and making great songs, as far as when I'm spitting and the different inflections of my voice, I do look at Isaac Hayes and having that commanding voice when I'm on the mic, and being able to, say things so that people will feel it. As far as when I'm out there trying to perform and performing, I do look to Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's influenced by people outside of hip-hop itself. Hip-hop wouldn't be anything without all the other genres, especially R&B. That's really how I got started with hip-hop. Ever since then, it's been a bit of a roller coaster ride for me. Not as big of a roller coaster as some of the other big names that you knew. It's not like I've been dropped from labels or anything like that, but I've had my fair share of ups and downs and experiences that all I could do is learn from and live and learn. That has hopefully shaped me into the artist that I am now, and that through my music.
wish born on my inch. Money in me pants cruising. Excuse me, introducing. The whole left on. MC like I was third of one from after stripped on. One of a kind. Dang girl, lost mine is so Steve's on edge. People that step wrong. Look on, Monica, more clothes than I'm on the list. I seem like Stevie, you wonder when will they found her. What disrespected, now it's been affection. I am the soul that the builders rejected. Yeah.
My favorite hip hop album, I would have to say Lauryn Hill, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. I mean, that album, that joint had everything in it. You know what I'm saying? Of course, second after that, it would have to be Nas. Big, Ready to Die, of course, is up there. Jay-Z, Reasonable Doubt. A lot. Kanye West's first album as well. It's just, you know, the thing about those artists is that they were just, at the time, they were just so original. You know what I mean? Even though I would listen to Cool G rap and I would hear, excuse me, even though I would hear Cool G rap in Nas, it was like he still wasn't. He was still his own. You know what I mean? And it's just, I think that's what we missing nowadays as far as with hip hop. A lot of people, they just not being original. They're being someone else. They're going after this whole, they're fitting the mold in order to make the little bit of money that they can. You know what I mean? And it's really bad because you can't really blame them, because at the end of the day, you know, all artists is trying to make money. But it's like, it kind of goes back to that dash. You know what I'm saying? Like, are you really leaving your fingerprint on the world if you sound like somebody else? You know? And I'm just trying to be different. Different while being able to be felt and understood. Because there's a lot of people that get so different that it's like, oh, you out of space now. I don't even know you. You know what I'm saying? I still try and stay down to earth for the most part. And then that, I think that's where my difference comes in. Because, you know, everybody get on the space age and, you know, I'm balling out of control. It's like, well, what about the rest of us that ain't? You know what I'm saying? What you got for us? I mean, all you're planting seeds of in me now is envy. And I mean, of course, you should be using it as motivation, like, you know, I could do it too or whatever like that. But there's a lot of people that just ain't there. You know what I'm saying? So you got to meet people where they are and be able to speak to those masses, because they matter. The working people matter. The people that can't rap and, you know, and blow up off rap and buy Bentleys and stuff like that off rap, they matter. So they need something to feed their spirit too.
Kind of wrong, yo. It's a new day since the president is black. It's a fact. You know, change when people don't take the yak. A spade is a spade, so the Trump was always black. Mama said, God has changed. I said my sentiments exact. Okay. So here's the part where I kind of break it down for the lovely young ladies that are in the crowd. Okay.
Go us.
I secretly hope we spend our days together. If our kids the same age, they can play together. We can see a whack movie, then complain together. Sneaking another, then play the sync, whatever you want. Sucker you like tar and feather. All you gotta do is hold me down like cough suppressors. We can lay together. Imagine our fate forever. In a better mills.
What do I think of the current state of hip hop? I think we aight. There's a lot of artists that's coming out now that's really doing their thing and carrying the torch well, to where it's not gonna be completely Hollywood, you know what I mean, and just all money, hoes, cars, and clothes. You know what I'm saying? There are some people that are still out there just keeping it really real, talking about real life and issues that are really pertinent to our society, our culture, to our generation. And I definitely appreciate those people, and it's good that the industry is allowing them to come in and flourish. Because for a second there, it looked like we was just gonna be all money, cars, hoes, and clothes. You know what I'm saying? And hip hop was gonna die. And really, that's when I really started getting back into it. It was like, nah, this can't go down like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, someone has to keep the music alive. You know what I'm saying? So I came back in the game because I stopped being a fan. You know what I mean? I literally just stopped being a fan for a while. And it was like, it was like, going back to my main man Steve, there was actually a point, I was rapping on the internet or whatever. They used to have these little freestyle forums, and I would go ahead and type my verses or whatever, do little battles and stuff online because, at the end of the day, I can't never let hip hop go. You know what I'm saying? I was always writing. Like, there was never a time I stopped writing. But as far as pursuing it for real, I wasn't. So, I would write or whatever, do these verses online. My man would see it and be like, yo, that is ill. You know what I'm saying? And some of those I would actually spit on a little mixtape or whatever, make a little song off somebody else's beat with those verses. And he was like, yo, what you doing? You know what I'm saying? It's like, why don't you go ahead and do that? If you're doing it, why don't you go ahead and do it? And I'll never forget, it came to one day, we was just sitting there by the computer. He was like, yo, you got to do something different. I was like, yeah, no doubt. He was like, yo, what's something that you think that you could possibly do better than anybody else? And I just said the first thing that popped in my head. I was like, rap, make music. He just shook his head like, he just looked at me. And from then on, I was like, yeah, we go do that. You know what I'm saying?
Pass the light, pass the baton. I tried to be good, but it don't matter, I'm gone. Like a spaceship launch, my planet we on. I'm all in my zone, so let's all get thrown. Let's go! In my zone, when you hit my phone, I gotta make must be money, was that but stone. Shout like easy fingering, how I got home. Chicks diss me once, now they won't leave me alone.
What's the ultimate goal at the end of my career? Like I said, just to put that fingerprint on the world, make sure that my dash is as full as possible, that people remember me, that, when my grandchildren's children listen to my music, when they're driving in their hovercraft cars or whatever the heck's gonna be out at that time, you know what I'm saying? They're spaceships when they're flying around. They can still pop my stuff in their new Blu-ray music disc player or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And be like, still be able to vibe to it because my music is just that timeless. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I just, like anybody in this world, I just don't want to be forgotten. You know what I'm saying? I want to be legendary and timeless and be able to say that, my children be able to say that my father made a difference, not only in their life, but in their friends' life and in their friends' children's life. You know what I mean?
Now listening to Victory. Yeah. My swag is on Eastwood. Make my day, I'm built for this. The crowd checking for my game. And I can't let them down. nobody snatch your heart. Shut up for wearing your G-San, cause I'm nicer. For all that I go to I get it out of necessity, including
Victory's in the building. Don't skip me. Don't ever skip me. Holla back.
Holla back one.